Good to have you at this moment.
Thank you.
And the work you have done, it is within, it's around. It is wonderful. I have gone through the book.
Very nice.
And I found it is like you're compiled a lot of experiences. Like if you do an MBA, we learn the details of this only. I felt it is a compilation of the entire MBA. You have done it in this.
Yes.
And very specific to mention that you work across many institutions like industries, SMGGs, media, and whatnot. That itself means your experience is wider, very specifically in terms of at the post of manager. And of course, you mentioned that manager is it's not a profit making. I didn't see any word here anywhere in profit making, but you're speaking about leadership. And who wants to propose a leadership, being a leader? And these days, everything is looked at from the focus of business, and where you're focusing on human values. And what made you to focus on that instead of making profit? This is what we hear these days, globalization, profit, and outcome profit. So what makes you to really focus on human values?
Good morning, first of all, and thank you for having me here. You're right. I guess it's the industries that you spend on. I mean, I spent my time in FMCG, telecom, and media. And I've grown from the grassroots. I've not been a manager right at the beginning. So you're a contributor initially, and then you look at what are those moments that make you feel good. So if you have a curiosity and an observatory skill, I guess you start picking up. And I think somewhere at the back of the mind, I was registering all of that. And at some point, something will trigger you. And that trigger is what made me write this book. I don't know, you've been very kind to say it's a book for MBA. I don't know whether I'm qualified to do that. What I've done is I've put all my 34 years there. In sense, what one goes through as a leader, what kind of challenges he has, or she has, what could be I've kept it as a non-prescriptive piece, because these days everybody tells you what to do. There are too many people to advise you what to do, but I guess I left it as a perspective of mine, which if you read might help you, might resonate with you, and then you could use it. Coming to your pertinent point of profitability, I think the challenge that we have, I wouldn't say the challenge, people need something to run after. That's how human being is wired, right? Right from the hunting days, you used to get excited when you see a gazelle. You spot few gazelles, you know that's the place I have to go every time. So it's become a nature for us to run behind something, and these days it is capitalism and profitability, and I guess that's the buzzword. We all need to be profitable, and I have not taken that away. All I'm saying is you can be profitable with values. You don't have to get away from it. Nobody's saying don't run after the material things. You should run after the material things, but you should know the balance. So my push is, if you become a good human being, these things will follow. I think you don't run behind what you want. You run behind the process. Process will deliver what you want. So these days what has happened is we've put profit before purpose. All we have to do is shift a little and see, put purpose, profit will be natural. That's my recommendation.
So what have been your experience like in your 30 plus years, where you find people have been focusing on you for profit, or you experienced human values?
No, I guess it's both, right? We've started talking about it these days, thanks to VCs and investors. I think they are right in what they are doing. They're putting some money, so they need some return. I personally having spent 3 decades, I think the discussions were always around values, and profit is there. I mean, you know why you do a job, right? You walk into a kitchen, you know you have to produce a good recipe, period. There is nothing, I mean, you look at it as a profit, then you can call it anything. There's an end state that all of us look for. And if that end state is profit for the industry, so be it. I guess it's important for you to understand why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's what always gets spoken about, rather than being pushed into profits. Yes, one of the fundamental asks from the boards to the CEOs is to get profit, and I don't think they are at what do you call, so inhuman to ask. I guess there is a lot of humanness even today. It's just that it has been disproportionately blown up, saying we're becoming like this. So which is why I thought we will remind people about there is still value system that can run businesses and still be profitable. This is one of the attempts.
So you have been mentioning in that capable leader. So who do you find as a capable leader? Who focus on values or who really draw the business? So how do you define it?
Good question. Capability, again, see, look, I have already said, right, I think a good human being is a good leader. First, or the other way around, if you want to be a good leader, first practice to be a good human being. Now, capability is existing in all of us. Now, if you ask me, who do you define as a capable leader? To me, I guess anyone who is is their willingness to develop the next leader, I think is a capable leader. Today, the problem is we say we are building leaders, but we're not able to accept the other person as a leader. Acceptability is a big challenge today we have. I think the capability I will love, I would tie up to one, there's an intelligent quotient that everybody has to have. As a leader, you need to have the subject knowledge. You need to know how to drive business. You need to know how to drive people. You need to know how to manage emotions. These are capabilities which are a given for a leader. But if you want to hone the same things to the person that you're developing, I guess you need to accept when he becomes a leader. One of the challenges that we have is we say that we want to develop leaders, but we don't accept them as leaders. So I guess if you have that little tinge in you will definitely become a capable leader. And if you have balance between means and ends, leadership is not about focusing only on ends every time. Means really matter, and that's what makes you the best of the me.
So what is the trend these days? Like, the profit, of course, people run around profit, and the whole problem of, corporates is a corporate, corporate values itself, we call it as, the profit, drawing the profit. And on the other side, you speak about a leader. The other side, like in many occasions, we can see that, people don't bother, like, don't recognize them as real leader. So what is your observation or experience like that? What is the trend these days? Who do people want to recognize as a leader?
See, unfortunately, we are living in a distorted world. If 1% of something has happened, we blow it up to 100%. Now, I don't find any issue with big companies and conglomerates in the country. They still run on value systems. I think you take Tatas, you take Infis, you take TCS. I think everyone runs Wipros of the world. I think they run on values. No one wakes up in the morning and says, okay, today let me ensure all my employees suffer. I don't think that's the intent with anybody, with any corporation works. Corporate world today in India probably is the best in the world in terms of human values. They do respect people. For example, take our own organization. We are a 147-year-old organization. Name a few which have survived 147 years, and we are raring to go for the next 100. And how do you do that? And the only thing that underlines all of us is the people values. I mean, our attrition is probably in a low single digit. I mean, I'm saying low with such a stress that we don't have that. And that's because people find connected to the place that they're working. Why do people work? People work to make their ends meet, what they want to earn, and how they want to grow. There are many people that see their entire life journey in a company. So I would not, externalize the corporate. Today, what happens is everyone is starting to externalize the same company that they work for. I don't see that as a good habit or a good practice that is running in the current industry. So to me, I think corporates are reasonable. There is obviously a stress and a demand. Now, if you cope up with all of that and you keep learning always, I guess you will enjoy the ride. The moment you stop learning and you stop blaming that I've been expected to do this, then I guess you will end up not caught up with where the world is going, and then you will always feel the stress.
It's a little personal, I can ask if I can.
Yes,
so
you
in
can.
Your approach, what do you highlight? It is the end result you want or the values? the both cannot go together. We know that, but
No.
personally, what do you?
No, I'll first, I'll respectfully disagree that both can't go together, because as a culture, we've been doing that. They go together. I think,
Okay.
what is the value that you expect of an employee? Who is an employee? I mean, he comes and he contributes what he knows to the company, and thereby makes his benefit out of this, and then makes the company profitable about it. So I don't want to separate that. Uh, we are probably confusing too much of these values with ethics and morals, right? Now, are you selling a product which is not good for the society? Are you doing some service which is not good for the other person? I think that's where I will draw the separation line. And here is where we're talking about an employee in a company. If I'm working in this company, there's a mutual thing. I mean, I need something, they need something. I bring that what I have in the table, and they will put what they need, and this marriage has to work well. As simple as it. Beyond that, I don't see anything. So what do I ask is, I ask people to give what they have. And what do the companies want? Companies want you to give what they have hired you for. I guess this is a very good equation. There's nothing that comes in between where we say someone has to compromise his value to deliver what the companies have. Now, if it shifts to the other point that I said, if a company is wanting to do something that is not right and not ethical and is not meeting the values of the society, then your question becomes pertinent, and that's where the employees have to take a call, whether is it matching my intrinsic value, my intrinsic values and the societal values and my ethical values are meeting the company, or it is not. Then you take a call. You can't say that I am being forced to do something. Nobody forces anybody to do anything. So I guess it is more to do that balance. How do I see my company? And if I start seeing my company as an external element to me, I will never be a good employee, because to me, I think you will survive and be happy when you start respecting the organization, which is allowing you to earn the respect by giving you what you want to live in the society. When I flare this card, I'm a very proud employee of this. Why do I wear this tag? I wear this tag because I work for a company. Every employee works. Now, am I wearing it externally? Have I got it in my heart? Is a question that I have to ask. If you have that, absolutely no question of whether my values are compromised or whatever. And then no leader has to ever ask people to come and deliver what they are actually hired for. They'll come, they will deliver and go. I think that's where I will.
You can feel how much you feel for your organization, the way you speak.
No, every organization that I've been for. I mean, I talk about the
Yeah.
same thing with the levers that has shaped me. I talk about Airtel, about the same thing that has shaped me. I talk about Tatas that I worked with. I definitely talk with the same pride of Madura Codes that I started my life with. I guess it is important for us to belong to where you are working. If you don't, then you will always have, hide under these things of my system is compromised, I am being asked. This is where people also come and tell me I'm feeling heavy pressure. I said, there's nothing called pressure if you are doing what you can.
Very much. That's exactly. If you are real, it really reflects.
Absolutely.
And there's a platform there to develop also. That is very much. And you spoke up in your book about the group reflection, the process of reflection, all that you speak about. And of course, in general, many also focus in actual life. So after the group reflection, there can be some concerns, like problem seems to be settled there. How do you address that? The follow post group reflection.
See, first I'll take a little pause, and for people who are seeing this to value the reflection, right? Today, leadership is unfortunately become a lot of noise. Okay, a leader is considered a good leader if he speaks all the time, if he tells all the time. But leadership is about recognizing that little bit of silence in between the conversations, right? It's about allowing people to hold on, allowing people to pause a little and reflect on what has happened. And what you got to teach, or not teach, or probably let people come back, is to reflect honestly about what is the problem. Am I the issue? Is my competence the problem? Or is there something else that I have to solve? I think when the honesty and reflection comes, the next step is how do you do the group reflection in terms of a recommendation that I put in the book, where you reflect as a group of people on a certain issue. You have for example, you have some problem to be sorted. Everyone comes with a perspective. These days, you rarely find people accepting the other views as perspectives. Now, I always think that you are opposing me. The moment I park that view a little aside and say it is not an opposing view, it is a different perspective somebody is bringing, I think all the adrenaline levels in the room will settle down. Then I'm not fighting with each other, I'm fighting for the cause. The problem we have in the leadership tables today is we fight with the who and not the what. Now, if you come and tell me, if I like you, what you say becomes a gospel. If I don't like you, then even if you say the good thing, I don't like. I think these are things that you need to separate. And in a group reflection, when you sit down and reflect on a certain trouble or a problem that you have or a solution you want to bring, you be prepared that there are going to be different perspectives. You be prepared that there are going to be different views. You be open to take them as a views, and you build, or it's not easy, it's not going to happen tomorrow morning. For a period of time, each of you will start to respect each other. I think one of the things that a leader has to always constantly do is, how do I build a system where each other start respecting each other and they know that their competencies complement to make a better organization and not compete with each other's competencies. If that is the first level you bring your teams up, then I guess these group reflections will start working. And group reflections not something that you will get unequally you will not get a stage where everybody is agreeing and following on a line. Everybody agrees that this is probably the best solution given the circumstances, and we go with that solution, and everybody is prepared to take the pluses and the minuses that come out of the decision. One of the things that I strongly recommend to leaders or to the team members is, when you reflect and agree, for example, you're in a room and you agree on something, I think the conversation and the agreements have to remain what you agreed. So the problem is not just the conversation. Problem is conversations after the conversations. You have a meeting here, and in the meeting, you will nod your head, you will agree, and you go out and have one more meeting and say why that meeting doesn't make sense. I think if you try to stop the conversations after conversation, which is where your value systems will come. Would you do this with someone that you want, that you really love and connect with? Is a question that you need to ask whenever you are doing this kind of a gossiping outside, which doesn't really connect and which doesn't really match the ethos of the group reflection.
That really connects to the integrity you speak about in this person, actually.
Absolutely.
And that is the human value. That is the whole of this book is focusing on that, the human values and reflects in integrity. I think the rest of things just keep falling in. And one more thing I would like to ask you to explore, like the labeling aspect. Knowingly, unknowingly, and also deliberately we do that. And in the students also we do that. Okay, you're a good student. We think that probably it's a positive. But can you explain that its impact? How can this hamper the growth of an organization or personal growth or integrity?
It's a topic that I've always looked at to be central to a leader. One is, where does labeling come from? I have a certain view of somebody. I'm not able to let go of that. Now, what do? I'll then say, he is a good person, she is a good person, or she is a bad person, or he is a bad person, or difficult things. That is difficult to handle, difficult to various things. Now, what does this do over a period of time? It conditions you to go that direction. Then say that I already know who you are. Now, if I know that you're not going to bring value to the table, I'm saying I might not actually know, but I have labeled you as somebody who doesn't bring value to the table. Now, there is a danger that I might miss. At some point in time, you might also change. You might actually go and reflect and come back and say, okay, last so many years I didn't do, and now you're probably wanting to contribute something. Now, the danger of labeling is, I will miss out on the best that the people can give. And one of the fundamental rules for leadership is you got to live by the day. You cannot lead people by what they are yesterday. You have to lead them for what you want them to be tomorrow. I think that's a big shift that one has to make. Whether it is a student life that you mentioned, you'll say good student. So it will definitely have an impact. The impact for a good label is he's already under pressure. He's always under pressure. He's the first guy. Everyone is saying, what do? You are a best guy. So there is always this constant pressure for him to keep that number one. God forbid he moves to number two, which is not a bad story at all. Now, are you building him to handle the number two? Now, the best guy who could have been the best, the number one, is suddenly started to think that he is not the best. Now, where is this coming from? Because you constantly kept labeling someone on what they are. Same thing happens on the other side. You see somebody, you are waste, you are not doing this and all that. So I guess one of the very casually used words these days, or maybe from time eternity, is you are useless. I think no one in the planet is useless. Everybody is useful in some way or the other. Education has to tell us what you are good to be used for, what, and not to tell me what my rank is. I guess it is important for us to see how are we labeling, why are we labeling, what is the necessity of labeling. For example, if you had a certain view of me, you will carry that view all through. Not essential. Both of us are meeting for the first time. You don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. The conversations are going on. But do I have a hat of you? No. I don't think that, okay, Madam Jose is going to be like this. No, I don't have anything. So I'm free to converse with you. You're free to converse with me. Are leaders the same? Are parents the same? Are our friends the same? Are we willing to look at it for the moment? Or are we constantly reminding people of what they were in the past? Right? That's what we do. That's exactly what labeling does to you. So I strongly recommended even here that labeling is something that unconsciously creeps into our behavior, and you should avoid it as much as you can. And understand the impacts of both positive and negative.
Yeah. So multiple things you have dealt in this book, like starting from a personal reflection to the group to shaping. So anything which is is correct, inside to outside. That's what I could find it, not from the external but internal, from the reverse
Inside
of
out,
this.
yeah.
There's a funnel you look at and it starts blowing, taking the light. A lot of values which is being focused. And at this level, when you propose this, who do you focus this book? To the beginners or a mid or a senior leader?
Good question. I've written there, who does it appeal to? I think it's for everyone who wants to lead, and everyone who wants to become a good human being. It is not just meant for leaders alone. You can take it home. There are people who are there. Some of my friends who are housewives read them and they said, "No, it connects very well." So I guess that's why I've refrained from using leadership jargons. I've refrained from using a lot of these jargons and matrices and tables and 2x2 matrices, etc. It is for everyone who wants to lead. It is good for someone who's starting their career. It is good for all students who want to understand how their journey is going to be. It is good for middle managers. It is good for senior managers. It is also good for all CEOs who at some point in time feel the need to reflect on which steps did they travel up and what is the necessity. I've been blessed by some of the very senior leaders to have given it a reflection of okay, this reminded me of my journey from where I started. I guess this book's for everyone, and this any book, not just this book, any book is for everyone and anyone who is reading a book without any judgment. The problem we have is we pick up a book and we'll read that book in our lens. You have to consume the content of the book for the content that is in the book. Now, if you think that I see many people write and say, "Sridhar, I don't agree with this view." I said, fine, that's your perspective. The headline is perspective, right? I should have the ability to accept that there are going to be different perspectives, and every author has to have that. And I don't call myself an author yet, but I guess this is something. It's a congregation of experiences that you put. So you have to be prepared for people to say what they want to say. So this book to me is for everyone who is open-minded, who is willing to learn, and willing to shape up himself and contribute to the next person to become better.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. While going through it, I found you are dealt with an ordinary person, maybe a beginner or anyone, as you take it up. Like many things a person would go through when you work with an organization, formal or informal. Like you have certain fears. How do you overcome when you fail, How do you do that, and how do you communicate, and how do you focus? You start with the within, self-reflection. So it's just beautiful, and I feel the book is recommended for everyone. As a simple person can read and understand the way it is been, and the readability is very high, the way it has been written, the highlights there are, and many small subtopics that also show the way it is aligned. The readability is very high. Little, images also are there in here. That makes books, so like, otherwise you feel that within is a big topic to go in. There is already a fear for everyone for a self-reflection. Just facing oneself is a big challenge. That's what the leader is enabling. I feel the book is all about. So it is very lovely. You said it's your first book, but it's it's richer than gold and diamond and all that.
Thank you. Thank you. Coming from you is thank you.
It's from the reader's perspective and just giving it. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
It's a very, very valuable one.
Thank you.
And you can contribute a lot with your experience through this way and many ways. So thank you. Best wishes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.